Oh, so you can't afford to buy me a present for Christmas this year?
I'm beginning to wish that I had rare voice, just because I'm tired of spending more than I should and getting less than I could. It's cheaper than my other phone for sure. I'm beginning to wish that I had rare voice. It's the very best choice. And the happiest thing I'll see are the features that are free. That's why I've got rare voice.
Isn't it time you upgrade your home phone? Sign up for RevVoice today, and you can win great weekly prizes and a brand new Honda CR-V from Nassau Motor Company. Get RevVoice home phone for as low as $14.99 a month. Rejoice this Christmas with RevVoice.
Good evening, Bahamas. This is NB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. The Constitutional Reform Commission likely to advance the issue of casino gaming for Bahamians. The Prime Minister has good news about the economy, a murder victim's family still waiting on his body months later, and an attempted bank break-in this morning. Those stories and much more on the way, and the Kia DeVoe in NB12 starts right now. Here at NB12. While debate on the amendments to the Constitutional Referendum Act to facilitate next year's gambling referendum heated up in the House of Assembly this week, the question of casino gambling for Bahamians will be examined by the Constitutional Reform Committee. The issue came up as the leader of the opposition weighed in on the hot topic. Celeste Nixon has this report.
Chairman of the Constitutional Reform Commission, Sean McQueenie, confirmed today that the Commission will be addressing the question of casino gambling for Bahamians. He also reaffirmed that the government intends to put the recommendations of the Commission to a referendum in June of next year. As Prime Minister Perry Christie has previously stated, Mr. McQueenie said casino gambling would not be included on the January 28th referendum, but it would rather be reviewed by the committee.
The issue as to whether the constitutional provisions dealing with the exclusion of Bahamians from casino gambling should be repealed is a matter which will be considered by the Constitutional Commission. It will be recalled that the Prime Minister recently indicated that this was not going to be a referendum question. It wasn't going to be included in the gambling referendum because it was a matter that he would prefer to be dealt with by the Constitutional Review Commission.
Additionally, McQueenie said in January, a symposium will be held with community religious leaders to hear their constitutional reform recommendations. He noted that after consultations are completed, town hall meetings will begin in January, following which a report from the Commission will be presented to the government in March. He said the Commission's recommendations will then proceed to Cabinet and Parliament for further review and debate prior to the 40th anniversary of Bahamian independence. Addressing the Commission, Opposition Leader Dr. Hubert Minnis cautioned its members to approach proposed constitutional changes conservatively. He said looking back at the experience of the Free National Movement and the defeat of the 2002 referendum, the Commission should only move forward on issues where there is a strong national consensus, ensuring that the public will support their recommendations.
Bitter experience therefore urges me, in good faith, to strongly urge the Commission to err on the side of caution and to adopt a long-term approach in the knowledge that constitutional reform should be incremental and progressive, keeping pace with broad consensus of society, but not seeking to outpace that consensus. Constitutional reform should also be inclusive and expansive, erring at all times in favor of expanding human rights, equality, and dignity.
Minnis said the Free National Movement remains committed to the amendments put forward in the 2002 referendum, in particular, reforms that will ensure constitutional equality for Bahamian women.
Most particularly, Bill number 78, which sought to provide equal rights to Bahamian women in matters of citizenship. On this issue, the Commission can be assured that the expansion of constitutional equality to Bahamian women would receive our full support.
Among other areas, Minnis said limitations on the period of service of judges, the creation of a constitutional office for the parliamentary commissioner, and creation of an independent boundaries commission should also be examined by the Commission. Reporting for NB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.
There's been a lot of focus on how the legalization of numbers houses may help the economy, but according to Prime Minister Christie, the Bahamas is already experiencing noticeable strength in its financial position. Just more than halfway through its first year back in office, the nation's chief says the new administration is on track to meet revenue projections. Paige McCartney reports.
While the public discussion over the past several weeks has focused mainly on how legalized gambling can contribute significantly to government revenue, the government is looking at other ways to generate revenue in the form of value-added taxes. When the government took office in May, it indicated that it would produce a white paper during its tenure on tax reform. It has been argued that the Bahamas needs a new tax structure, and Prime Minister Christie told NB12 recently that it is needed in order for revenue to match expenditure. Christie said while the government has implemented policies to improve the country's revenue position, there is still a significant shortfall, meaning the government spends more than it makes. The Prime Minister said the white paper, once complete, would provide various tax options, one of which would be a value-added tax system or VAT option.
It will emphasize, I think, a form of added value tax as opposed to income tax or corporation taxes. We have to try to I think, give priority to fairness. That is, that those of us who have more pay more as opposed to those who have little. But at the same time, not to put any disincentive in the way of growth of our economy.
Value-added tax is a consumption-based tax similar to sales tax, but unlike customs duties, it is applied on all sales, including goods and services, in pieces along the production line. The Prime Minister didn't say when that white paper would be presented, but indicated it's approaching completion.
We are very near the point where we are able to begin to publish our position, firstly in the House of Assembly and then secondly in the country. And we would expect there to be robust meetings throughout the country so that people will truly be informed and educated on the choices that we have.
Well, almost 7 months into its new term, the Prime Minister said he has a positive outlook for the country's economy. He said even though the Bahamas is still experiencing the effects of a slowdown, there are indications that good things are happening, especially in the area of foreign direct investments. He pointed to recent developments on Cat Island, the Exumas, Grand Bahama, and Bimini.
By March, we should begin to see people being employed down there with the opening of a casino in Bimini and further developments in Bimini. We've had a major development in Grand Bahama, where we've opened a hotel in Bootle Bay, just outside West End. And we have in fact announced a major entry into the Bahamas of a tour company called Sunwing, who is a subsidiary of the largest tour company in the world, a German company, TUI. They've come into the Bahamas, and we know they take about 100,000 people a year to Jamaica and about 300,000 a year to Cuba. So we are very, very optimistic that Grand Bahama will receive a major boost in its tourism from the entry of this company.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Well, on a different note, the morning of April 27th is one the Carey family will never forget. That's when the body of 60-year-old Edgar Carey was discovered on a track road off the airport road leading to Coral Harbor. It's been 7 months since his murder, and yet Carey's family members have yet to bury their loved one. Christina McNeil tells us more in this report.
It's been an emotional 7 months for Edgar Carey's son, Delano, who's been doing his best to ensure his father gets a proper burial. But the Carey family has been left with more questions than answers as they await the results of a DNA test that may give them some peace of mind.
We are waiting for DNA results. We've been waiting
for DNA results for 7 to 8 months now, and we're tired of waiting. We need to bring it to a close so that we can finally lay my father to rest. We're grieving without any results. We haven't had the opportunity to even see his face. We won't ever be able to see his face because how bad his body is decomposed, and we need some results. We need some answers, and something needs to be done. I can't explain it. I dream about what possibly happened to him every day. I'm now on sleeping pills because I can't fully have rest, and that's not working because I can sleep, say, 3 hours, and I'm up. So it's dramatic, it's stressful, it's painful, and it can send you crazy.
Delano says the family never had the opportunity to identify Carey, but his driver's license was discovered in the pocket of his work uniform, which also bore his name. Delano still recalls the moment he received a call from a relative on the morning of April 27th, learning that his father was dead.
When I got that call, my mind went to maybe heart attack or whatever, because I know he was going through a lot. So as I jumped in my car and I rushed to my grandmother's home, I started to get other calls, and I found out that here it is, he was found off the airport road in bushes. So my mind went to hit and run. And then when I got another call, I found out that he was in a garbage bag. So automatically, I know it was some sort of foul play.
Since then, Delano says his family has been on a constant search for answers. The family was told a death certificate would not be issued until the results of the DNA analysis were released. He says the family even offered to pay to have the analysis done in the hopes of speeding up the process, but that request was denied. Carey's 82-year-old mother, Dorothy Carey, has kept her vigil of calling the Rand morgue every day in the hopes that today would be the day her son's body was released for burial.
Every day we keep calling and asking and say it's nothing, they haven't come to any conclusion yet. They haven't sent anything in return. I was told they sent some stuff over to Miami or the States or wherever, the DNA, but no results have come, came back yet. It's been over 7 months now.
Still waiting on DNA results, and it was 4 to 8 weeks, and now it's been months. Next week Saturday is my father's birthday, and we're still waiting.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson tells NB12 that police are still awaiting the results of the DNA analysis. He says they are hopeful the results will be released soon. A suspect known to Carey, Berkeley Fowler, was arraigned in connection to his murder back in May. Those DNA results are also necessary for prosecutors to wrap up their case in that matter. Meanwhile, Delano and Dorothy await the closure and peace of mind they say Edgar Carey rightly deserves. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.